For those of you that don't know me, my name is Coach Parker. I'm the head boys coach. In person, annihilating your inbox and parents square all season long. I want to welcome you to the 2026 Track Awards Banquet Cookie Extravaganza. We're going to try and get through this as quick as we can while still honoring our graduating seniors especially. And I'm going to start with a long list of thank yous because to pull something like this off over a 12-week period, it takes more than just one person or group of people. It takes the entire support network. My strongest support network obviously is my wife Jen, back in the back there, power clap on 3, 1, 2, 3. She has to listen to, deal with, and put up with my stresses, my highs, my lows, and she is the absolute bedrock of our household. I also want to thank our son Rhett, who is not here tonight, but he calls at least once every 8 or 9 days just to check in to see how the track team is still doing. I need to thank Wyatt. I'll talk more about him later, but it's not the easiest thing. Power clap on 3, 1, 2, 3. But it is not easy having a coach for a father. I fully recognize that, and sometimes I have to keep myself in check not to add stress to him. And this year I'm actually going to add one thank you for my family, my mother, who just celebrated, I believe, her 37th season of working our track meets. There were a few years where I laid her off, but we brought her out of retirement here recently to hand out stickers. I want to thank Coach Schneider and his family. His wife and daughters are here this evening. I know that it is a lot to put up with me, but for our program to be at the level that it is now, I think a lot of that has fallen on his shoulders, and he's done a very impressive job, both balancing the sprints and the entire girls program. So thank you to Coach Schneider for a wonderful season. Power clap on 3, 1, 2, 3. Then we have our assistants. I'm going to go through our list of assistants. I'm not going to list off how many years they've been coaching, but combined we have over 160 years of coaching experience, 160 seasons of coaching experience. I'll let you guess which order this is, but I want to thank our new jump coach, Adam Siciniak, for joining us. It is awesome to not only work with him, but to have had him as an alumni of our program, and him to want to come back to the community and give back to the community. I think that has been a real plus for our program this year. I want to also include Vicki Janish. I don't think she's here tonight. She wasn't track back. She is coming back. We'll recognize her, but she's also an alumni. So for her and having to have gone off to college, competed at the collegiate level, and want to come back and offer their insight to our athletes has been unbelievably helpful. I want to recognize Coach Hoffman. He's a volunteer for us this year. He has been with the program for 5 years. I think this is his 5th year. His first 4 years, he was a guide runner for Hayden, and when Hayden graduated, then I asked if he still wanted to come around, and he was more than enthusiastic in doing so. I want to thank Coach Casasola. Cass has really done a great job kind of spearheading a lot of the summer throws opportunities for the kids, getting some camps out in front of them, and really kind of being a cheerleader both at practice and at meets, just a steady state kind of guy that I think can really help with the masses that we have over in the throws area. I want to recognize also Coach Matthews. Love it. I think I said this at a professional development that we had as a coaching staff a couple of weeks ago when we had just won the conference meet and we were recognized, and I said it then and I want to echo it now. I think the largest asset that our program now has is continuity with other programs. We are an absolute melting pot of sports during the fall and winter seasons. These kids are doing a strength and conditioning program that is replicated when we get to the track season. So it is seamless, it builds on itself, and Bubba has been instrumental in not only bringing that to us, but maintaining it 365 days a year. I want to thank Coach Moots as well. Came to us from Rio about 10 years ago? 9 years ago? Sorry, my math is off. But has been a great asset in always in the pros areas. He's kind of our stay back when we have split squads. He stays back and is the adjunct head coach running practice here. It has been great to have that steady set of eyes on our athletes and a reassurance that going from season to season, especially bringing a lot of our girls wrestlers into the fold here, has been a lot of fun to watch him interact with the kids that way. Just checking off a few here. 24, 25 years ago, I had a couple of fathers show up to practice wanting to help out. And the only thing I mentioned to these fathers, because their sons were competing for me at the time, was as long as you are willing to coach your child and all other children the exact same way, then I have no problem with you being part of our program. And lo and behold, 24, 25 years later, Coach Osterman, that's the workers there. But truly, I think Coach Wolf is not here this evening. I think he's still in Europe. He went to Switzerland, I think, up some river. He was the school record holder back in the late 70s. He coached his son and has stuck around since the early 2000s. I want to mention Coach Osterman because I'll put our entire coaching staff up against anybody. It was funny, we were at a clinic this last winter and talking to a local Dane County team, I won't mention them, but the coach was bragging up how he was 95% sure they had the greatest coaching staff in all of Dane County in southern Wisconsin. And I just kind of smiled and nodded, and then we showed up at regionals and whooped their butts. So that was a lot of fun. But I do put Coach Osterman up there. I'll put him up against any girl coach in the state. And then finally, I want to recognize with her 32 years experience, she started coaching right as I was leaving my high school career, but she has been just steady Eddie the entire time. She's moved over and made pole vault an absolute passion of hers, and I think that as the years have progressed, other programs recognize her as a leader in the coaching world, but I want to recognize Coach Burton as well. So if you would all come out here. Just kind of a further list of thank yous that I would be remiss if I did not recognize. I want to recognize our athletic office staff with Mr. Hinner and Miss Rowley. Miss Rowley did a heck of a job stepping in as her first year, taking the place of Miss Butler, who was here for just shy of a century and just retired. And Miss Rowley has stepped in and has been really very seamless for Coach Schneider and I in how we are able to provide the program that we provide for your students. I want to recognize Scott Cole. It's an absolute madhouse in his training room, especially at the beginning of the season when kids are still not quite able to separate injury from soreness, and they're thinking that they might need something amputated, and it's just, no, you need to go stretch. So he does a great job, is very patient with all the kids, and is very good with his communication. Anybody that has worked our meets, I take a lot of pride outside of our starting system right now. In the meets that we run, we go to meets that are horrible as far as the administration of a meet goes, and I think it's because of our meet workers. I need to thank Coach Smith, who some of you might not know, but he was my mentor for 20 years, retired in 2023, and has had to take a step back again this year, but I want to make sure that I do him justice by recognizing his work. Anybody that volunteers at the Freedom Run, thank you. That allows us to absorb 40 extra uniforms when we have 107 guys on the roster the first day, and I only have 80 uniforms on stock. So anybody that helps with the Freedom Run, shameless plug, please sign up and help with this year's Freedom Run. I also want to recognize parents. I know that on the off chance, especially the boys, their communication skills aren't always high level. And at best, you get a grunt when you ask how things have gone. That's better than what I get from them sometimes. So I recognize that sometimes tired, cranky, sore kids coming home that have homework can be a little bit of a stress. Not that my children are this way, but I do recognize that that happens. So kids, I want a power clap for your folks on 3, 1, 2, 3. I especially want to call out a couple of folks that helped us out tremendously. Ms. Matthews and Ms. Schneider with the senior posters, a lot of the spearheading of that, with over 50 faces on that poster. I know that that can be quite daunting. So I saw Ms. Matthews come in earlier and I see Ms. Schneider. So thank you very much. Power clap 1, 2, 3. And Ms. Schultz for helping out with the concession stand. I'm pretty sure Ms. Schultz is here this evening as well. So thank you for all of that work. That's my thank yous. Just under 5 minutes, right, CJ? Okay. All right. I'm going to go through some highlights of the boys' season. Oh, it's not that one. Now, to be honest with you, I think the greatest highlight we had were the individuals sitting in this room. We had 107 boys on the roster the first day of practice. And I thought for sure that would plummet. Those numbers, we've never broken 80 before. So I thought, no, we'll be fine. Lo and behold, when you count conference, JV conference, and a few of the injuries that we sustained, we still had 96 active members on our roster at the end of the season. To me, I don't care what the trophies are, I think that is the biggest highlight of the year. We had 29 seniors, 21 juniors, 31 sophomores, and 15 freshmen finish the year. That's a huge highlight. To me, that says that whether it's the culture of the kids or the experience that kids are receiving, or maybe something negative that pushed them away from something else. I think that what we can offer kids is way more than what a stopwatch or a tape measure gives, and that is just a positive experience before they leave high school. To me, I'll write home about that every day of the week. We did have some performance highlights as well. It was nice to repeat as conference champions, obviously. We had 7 first-team all-conference participants or performances, 3 second-team, and 9 honorable mentions. We also set the school record, the conference record in the 4x2, and that dates back to the 1970s. When it was just one Badger conference, and there were schools like Middleton and Verona still in it. Our other highlights include 6 school records. Kind of the obscure one, we set the school record at the soft relays in the distance medley with Blake, Sumner, White, and Lucas. We set it was a little bit, took us aback when we looked up at the clock. for the conference meet, but we reset the 4x1 that had just been broken last year at the conference meet with Aiden, Shane, Kyle, and CJ. Lucas, I mean, he's pretty much set every single distance record we have, but I think one of the funnest races to watch was his 800 at the Wanakee Dual Meet, where when he took it out, and I think you were up to 52 or so, I thought for sure he'd go to piano on one of his shoulders by the back stretch, but he just kept trucking around 151, absolutely shattered the school record by 4 seconds. Isaac came out after a year sabbatical and tied. Now there's a 4-way tie for the high jump at 6'6". He also, I wasn't able to be there, I was at the Wanakee Freshman Sophomore Meet, but he broke and then re-broke the long jump record. His record now will sit at a 22 feet 4 1/2 inch. And then the last record set was at the regional, or excuse me, the sectional meet in the 4x8 with a 7:57 Blake, Mason, Mike, and Lucas. If we could give it up for all of those. That's all I'm going to talk about on the guys' side. For our summary, here is Coach Schneider.
Yeah, thank you all for coming in today. I'm Joe Schneider, the girls' head coach, but I also work with sprints, and this year I've been helping a little bit with high jump as well. Thank you everyone for coming. First of all, thank coaches for everything that you do for us. You make our lives a lot easier, so appreciate everything you do for our program and for all of our athletes. So thank you very much. I also want to thank my wife, Jessica, in the back there, and my daughters. I have 3 of them, Allie, Lainey, and Kaylee. It was a really unique year for me. This is the first year that I've been able to coach 2 of my daughters in the same season, which was pretty special. So they've been around it for their entire lives, so to finally being able to have them up here working with me as athletes was a pretty special thing, so thank you very much for that. I don't know where he just went, but I also want to thank Coach Parker. He puts in a lot of work throughout the year for the program, not to mention just what's happening during the season. It's just simply remarkable. He's been a mentor for me for the last 7 years. I've learned a lot from him as a head coach the last 3. So please give him a round of applause or a power clap. A couple season highlights for the girls again. We're a very young team, right? We had a lot of returning athletes, but a lot of them were young moving up, right? And so there was some growing pains along the way, but in the end, a pretty successful season. We ended up winning the indoor meet at Watertown. And then at conference, we had a couple all-conference place winners. The 4x2 relay and the shot put with Allie Schneider, and we'll talk about that a little bit. And our second place all-conference was our 4x1 relay. And then we had 4 sectional qualifiers this year. In the long jump, Penny, Kira in the 200-meter dash, Mackenzie Johnson in the shot put, and that 4x1 relay as well. And then finally, we also had a school record broken this year, multiple times, which is pretty cool. Our 4x1 relay of Penny Lepelons, Mackenzie Botham, Morgan Sagipore, and Jenna Grosky have a new school record for 23 years of 50.01. So give them a round. I also want to thank our managers as we went through, Alyssa Prenker and Naveed Frederick. I don't know, are you guys here? Thank you guys very much for everything you do behind the scenes, like helping get equipment out, helping put uniforms out, just taking splits at meets, all of that kind of stuff. It sometimes goes unnoticed, but please know that we are very appreciative of that and all the work that you've done to help us with that. So thank you very much.
Coach Danish, right here, Coach Danish. All right, so here's how we're going to recognize each class. We're going to call up everybody in the class. I'll recognize those that are lettering, just so you understand the trinkets, and I go through this each season. But if this is your first sport that you've ever been out for, then you get the numerals of the year that you should be graduating high school with. Let's try and stick to that. If it is your first time lettering ever in any sport, you will get a D. If it is your first time lettering in track and field, you will get a feathered foot. And if it is a multiple letter in track and field, you get a bar, part of a chevron is what that is. As far as lettering goes, the way it works, and this was in the preseason informational video that I'm sure you've all memorized at this point, but it does include some performance standards. There are automatic standards and there are provisional standards. If you earn one of the automatic standards in one of the individual events, let's say, and I'm making this number up, you throw 40 feet in the shot put, you automatically get a letter. If you run a 2 flat in the 800, you automatically. If you run a 210, you are provisional. I'm making these numbers up, so don't yell at me if you're not saying like you ran a 210. But if you get a provisional performance, then you have to earn so many points. You earn points by attendance, you earn points by performance in a meet, by placing in a meet, scoring points for the team, or you win or awarded points of merit for going above and beyond. So, if you're wondering, therefore, why you did or did not letter, feel free to ask. I can't tell you I have it all memorized off the top of my head, but there is a rhyme to the reason. The reason we do this is because when you have extremely deep years where kids don't get the opportunity to go to a lot of varsity meets, but they would be performing very well on other teams' varsities, then we feel like it's a comparable attainment of performance. I'll give you an example. Chandler ran at the JV conference meet, ran a 10:04 or 10:05. That actually would have been 5th in the Badger Large, or 4th. So when you have a performance like that, that warrants a varsity letter. Right? So here we go. I'm just going to call the freshmen up. I would like the freshmen to come up onto stage. The top row. I'm sorry. I'm going to call you up by name. I'm going to call you up by name. And then let's get up on stage and then we'll take pictures. Okay? Here we go. One acapella. Oh, sorry. Brayden Dinkar. Andy Dervishi. Kamari Dixon. Our manager, as Mr. Schneider alluded to, Naveen Frederick. Isaac Freeman. Gianni Gutierrez Morantes. Gavin Herbert. Earning his varsity letter, Kian Kelroy. And Hayden Kusky. Dawson McMahon. Adrian Morales Vargas. Adrian Muniz. Jackson Tollefson. And Drew Thompson. Your freshman. We're going to bring the freshman girls up here as well in a similar manner. First up, Kylie Glacier. Katie Hall. Earning her varsity letter, Avery Hansen. Sage Hess. Jocelyn Helm. Earning her varsity letter, Greta Leslie. Abby Meisenbach. Earning her varsity letter, Addison Modal. Melina Noriega. Chloe Pelka. Aiden Robert. Michaela Scalisi. Maggie Terry. Addie Tuggle. Earning her varsity letter, Amelie Wolf. Earning her varsity letter, Lainey Schneider. And earning her varsity letter, Janae Ziegler. here we go.
I get up there and I stand up and
Let's be respectful, please. Sophomore Boys. Aiden Abrams. Monte Bell.
yeah, I know. That's
Vincent Bodie. Dylan Bubbles. Cal Calkins. Angel Condo. Andrew Denlinger. Irene Wadarama. Cooper Hall. Eli Hansen. Charlie Hoffman. Jacob Kleisner. Earning his varsity letter, Jaden Lefevre. Earning his varsity letter, Sumner Matheson. Earning his varsity letter, Jacob McDowell. Tennyson Mellum. Mitchell Meyer. Jackson Myers. Elliot Nowakowski. Gavin Olson. Earning his varsity letter, Chandler Hibben. Earning his varsity letter, Cameron Paskey. Logan Rattle. Henry Rather. Earning his varsity letter, Caden Schmid. Declan Schuppener. Jordan Seiler. Earning his varsity letter and a member of the state qualifying 4x2, Logan Swoboda.
yeah!
Braden Whipperford. and Kong Jung.
All right, our sophomore girls. Tabitha Beard. Earning her varsity letter, Madeline Kassan. Earning her varsity letter, Celeste Crawley. Earning her varsity letter, Penny Levels. Earning her varsity letter, Madeline Osborne. Lily Rattle. Earning her varsity letter, Atlee Robert. Earning her varsity letter, Morgan Saginaw. Melanie Sanchez. Earning her varsity letter, Lily Schultz. Lauren Warwick. Earning her varsity letter, Brenna Witcher. And Ray Wines. Our sophomore class.
Cedric Vadillo. Vincent Bertram. Yushin Faust. Isaiah Covarrubias. Logan Davison. Ben Hackman. Logan Kellebater. Christian Krua. Earning his varsity letter, Jacob Lefevre. Earning his varsity letter, Dalton Lee. Matthew Lumen. Earning his varsity letter and a member of the state qualifying 4x2, Noah Monty. Tyler Mowbray.
Right now? Later?
Jaden Owen. Earning his varsity letter, Aiden Nolan. Earning his varsity letter, Jamie Pasco. Earning his varsity letter, Jackson Potter. Earning his varsity letter, Parker Stanos. JJ Stein. Earning his varsity letter, Sam Weisbrod. And Liam Wolf. This is your junior class.
I want to say thank you to all these guys for showing up. And UW lacrosse, I'm not committed. My brother's going there. I'm probably gonna go like Alabama.
Our junior class, thank you very much. All right, now we're going to bring up the girls, the junior girls. Earning her varsity letter, Mackenzie Alba.
Earning her varsity letter, Brielle Harris. Earning her varsity letter, Janice Kaiser. Earning her varsity letter, Gabby Manabong Tagura. Earning her varsity letter, Juliana Orbis. Earning her varsity letter, Cameron Paulson. Earning her varsity letter, Tina Rush. Earning her varsity letter, Fonsa Sangari. Earning her varsity letter, Shay Spong. And Pete Sting. Our junior class.
Okay, I'm gonna do the seniors a little bit different tonight. I've decided I'm gonna recognize them alphabetically by service. All of the first-year seniors and the second-year seniors, third and then fourth-year seniors. I typically say a little bit more about the seniors, so please pardon this longer part of the program, but we are running on record pace already. So we'll have you out of here before you're done. First young man I want to recognize, wasn't 100% sure if he was going to come out. I had gotten rumors that he was thinking about retiring from a different sport that he had done his entire life. Very quiet young man, and when he showed up, he literally just started working his tail off. He gave us great depth, especially when we had to go split squads. Sending half my kids to this beat, another half this beat, and I asked him when he was crossing the field at Beaver Dam at the JV conference meet when he was finished with his last race, I think it was the 200, if he had had fun. Because to me that's the measure of success when you have no idea how to measure success beyond just the metrics. But he just looked at me in full honesty and said, I really enjoyed it, Coach, I appreciate it. And he has since been at every practice since then. And so I think it says something about the atmosphere that you guys have created, that he wants to still be around some of his buddies. And I want to recognize with the varsity letter, Colin Paskin. How about this? Just so you guys don't have to stand up here for so long, I'm going to talk about each senior, and then we'll bring them all back up here for a picture, okay? Otherwise, You know, with my son being in this particular class, I've known a lot of these kids since they were 5, 6 years old through different youth activities around the area. And this next young man I got to know through baseball, actually. And when I found out that he was coming out, this is our first second year senior, when I found out he was coming out for track last year, I was thrilled because he was so much fun to be around. I had him in class when he was in 8th grade. He was a little hampered with some knee issues and some feet, some foot issues, shins, but he chose to run distance. And it didn't matter what the workout was, CJ was going to start on the back of that front pack. And even after a few conversations with him about, hey man, let's try and pace ourselves a little bit better, because he was going to run through a brick wall. It didn't matter if he was crawling when he got to it or if it was out of the blocks. CJ was going to give a full effort every single time. We had to kind of sit out a few meets this year, which I was disappointed for him because I felt like he was working towards some really nice PRs, but he continued to come back. I know I had to film a mile of his because he was submitting it for, I think, military or some sort of recruiting. And when I hear about, I was a military brat growing up, I lived around the world. And so when I see some of these kids that are going into the military, I have nothing but respect for that and nothing but pride for the fact that he is going to be defending our country. CJ Joshing. Amir is not here, is he? I want to just recognize Amir. I have him in 8th grade, and he came out as a sophomore, I believe. Took a year sabbatical, and then came back as a senior who was really hampered by some major hip issues, but still was showing up to do his rehab, and literally is walking like a 65-year-old man at this point. But I want to recognize Amir powerful. Teddy here? Okay, I want to recognize Teddy Leffelholtz. Teddy, he was out this sophomore year, took a year off, and then it wasn't until we were at the Wanakee dual meet, I think, a bunch of his buddies were still throwing, and he came up to me and asked, this was 5 weeks into the season, came up and asked, hey, what's it take for a guy to still join the track team? I'm like, show up. And he met all that criteria. And finished out the season by over in the throws area. So I want to recognize Teddy. 1, 2, 3. I already mentioned the next young man, a two-time now school record holder, was out as a sophomore. Very talented young man. But I think what eclipses his talent is his desire to learn. He truly was a sponge over at the high jump, and when Coach Spiniak joined us, I was through the roof knowing that Isaac was going to be over there working with Coach Spiniak, because he just wanted to know what else can I do, and he just kept executing. I think he could have, he's unbelievably fast as well, but we had such depth that I didn't have to use him as much in the sprints, and I think that really aided in his school record time, 6'6" high jump, his 22.4.5 school record long jump, and what I hope to be a very exciting experience for him at the state meet this Saturday morning. Isaac Ziegler, come on up. Another young man that I had in 8th grade, very quiet young man, so when he first signed up as a sophomore to come out for track and was going to throw for me, I was excited because I knew that it was a good core group of friends that he wanted to hang out with. I even saw a few reels where he was preseason over at the shot put area on the Insta this year. Not a very chatty young man, but always very respectful, a kind-hearted young man, and I look forward to hearing what his future brings, earning his varsity letter, AJ Bonilla. Another thrower that, a third-year thrower, I wasn't sure if he was coming out for the first few weeks. I didn't see a ton of him, but as the year progressed, I started hearing more from him. And in fact, this is, I think, when I know a kid cares enough to ask questions, then it means a little bit more to me to double-check what I'm doing. He was not put on a lineup to I don't remember if it was a varsity or a varsity reserve meet, but a very respectful conversation at practice about, I feel like I'm throwing better, or have thrown better than so-and-so, and I said, well, I have to go off this year. And so he turned around and went to that next meet and PR'd instantly to be able to earn himself a spot and a couple of other meets this year. So it was a lot of fun working with him, great personality, great energy, very positive person. Devin did one of three-year track athlete. He was a convert from baseball after his freshman year, having an 8th grade, and so I knew that when he showed up, he was going to work hard. He ended up running and swimming as well, but what's impressive about Brendan, I think, was the transformation over the 3 years in track. I don't know if he would remember, I think he does, but the first events he wanted to do was the 200. Just wanted to do 200s, and I remember looking out at practice his sophomore year when we were all getting ready to leave, and he had gone inside, put his spikes on, and come over and do more 200s, just because he wanted to keep practicing. And I had to talk to him about sometimes more isn't better. But he learned how to tolerate and work through some of the shin splints that he naturally got, and by the end of his senior campaign, all throughout the season of track, swimming, and cross country, he was able to best dictate what was appropriate workload for him. And I think that's going to pay dividends when he goes into the firefighting and EMS world to kind of know your limits and to push those limits. So I look forward to hearing how the rest of that turns out for Brendan Geist. You're not going to meet an individual that can absolutely light up a room with a smile better than Lawson Kelly. This kid is unbelievable hard worker. He was only out for 3 years because of medical leave. I think is that your junior year or sophomore? Yeah. But when I saw him, I think I saw him that summer, and I asked him, hey man, I thought you had a good time your freshman year. He's like, oh yeah, I had, and it was I think it was like a cracked vertebrae or something. Oh yeah, let's pump the brakes on hurdling with a cracked vertebrae. But he ended up coming back, and it took him a little bit of last year to get back into the swing of things. But by this year, when I was talking to Coach Osterman, I mean, he was advocating left and right to give Lawson a chance at this meet or this meet, because his 300 hurdles just kept getting faster and faster. And I think if he had not really nailed that one of those last hurdles at the regional meet, I think he would have been scoring points for the varsity team there as well. But I'm proud of what he's put into the hurdles, and I think he was an inspiration for some of the younger kids to watch his work ethic. I want to give his varsity letter to Lawson Kelly. Come on. didn't realize he wasn't out his freshman year. It was a late sign-on, free agent acquisition. You know, there are stories in this senior class that they have the opportunity to develop because they have someone in front of them. There are stories where they had to be the leader from their freshman, sophomore year on. I'm not sure which is better, you know, baptism by fire or just learn as you go and be supported. But DJ was an absolute sponge and an absolute driving force over at the hurdles. You never wondered where DJ was. You could close your eyes and hear him from anywhere around the track. But the passion that he brought to the hurdles and to competition and to the team and their performance as a team, he took the role when he wasn't the top hurdler seriously, and he took the role when he was the top hurdler equally as serious. And I think that's exciting for me to know that he sees his place as he moves into the Marine Corps, because he's going to need that type of mentality to be able to exist as an individual within kind of a machine that way. So I'm proud of DJ. You know, I tell him the story all the time. I didn't teach DJ in 8th grade. My beloved wife did. And DJ, I tell this story all the time so I don't feel like I'm going to embarrass him when I say this. DJ came back this freshman year to apologize to my wife for how he acted in science class. And I told him that took more maturity, and I'm not saying you're fully grown yet, but more maturity than any freshman to have that recognition and continue his trajectory into a young adulthood. This is not his first varsity letter, sectional qualifier, DJ Kronberg. Come on. And our final three-year participant, another young man that I think just saw a lot of his buddies out for track and field, and whether they said, hey, come on, it's fun, or hey, come on, we'll make it fun. I think Ashton has done an unbelievable job over his 18 years on this earth, which, by the way, today is Ashton's 18th birthday, so lottery ticket. But Ashton, I don't know if he fell in love with or tolerated. He's not a man of many words, but I could slot Ashton into the 400, 4x2, or the 200, or the 4x4 almost religiously. And as the season would progress, you would just sit there and watch his times drop. It happened all 3 years. And I was thrilled for him to be able to go under 60 in some of his last few heats. I actually saw, I forget which meet it was, that it came down to the last couple of legs, and Ashton just had fire in his eyes. That was one of the few times where I saw this other side of him that was like, wow, this kid can be competitive when his team needs him to be, and I appreciate that about Ashton. Come on up, birthday boy. Get your Sorry, I got another row of 3 years. Sorry. This young man was out for 3 years out his freshman, sophomore year, took a 1-year hiatus with the lacrosse team, and then rejoined the track team after a couple of frustrating, I would say, a couple of frustrating seasons. He was injured most of cross country, he was injured most of wrestling, and when I saw him before the track season started, I'm like, tough man, good luck with lacrosse this year. And he's like, actually, coach, I think I'm going to try track again. I just want a positive experience in my high school career up. And that meant the world to me, because in the pros areas, those guys make it fun, the coaches make it a lot of fun, and I think Tucker recognized that while variety is the spice of life, fun is the real motivator. And I appreciate appreciate Tucker coming back up. Come on up, Tucker. I wasn't 100% sure we would have Marcus out this year. I saw some sporadic attendance early on, and I thought, you know, I'm not sure what's going on, but I ran into him in the hall one time, and he was on his way out. I'm like, Marcus, is everything all right? And he said, you know, I got stuff going on I need to take care of, and that's where you just kind of have to trust. And from that moment on, I felt like a switch flipped for Marcus. He's been kind of a steady hand for us over at pole vault. I know the beginning of the season was not where he wanted his performance to be, but as the season progressed, he continued to inch up in increments of 6 as they go. And Marcus eventually earned a spot at the varsity conference meet. I had told Gordo a couple of weeks prior that, you know, we had such a deep team. Of the 30 entries, I really only had 2 or 3 spots where I didn't think kids were going to score at. And I needed Marcus to clear 10 feet if I was going to put him at the conference meet. I don't know if she actually had that conversation with him, but on cue, he performed and vaulted 10 feet. I can't remember what meet it was at, but it was easy to slot him in. I know the season didn't end quite the way he wanted to with some leg issues, but I appreciate his 3 years of service. I want to recognize Marcus Romeo. Come on up. And now our final 3-year athlete. I think he played baseball, I'm pretty sure, his freshman year. Another young man that I knew really when he was on Wyatt's baseball team at, I don't know, 7 years old or so. But I knew Steg's family from my youth. And what has been fun watching Steg develop as a thrower this year was his hand was kind of forced that way. Last year, he was a sectional qualifying 4x2 sprinter for me. That was your sophomore year, was it? I think it was. Was that your sophomore year where we went to sectionals up in Beaver Dam? Was that junior year? But it was gave us some depth at sprint. Had a catastrophic ankle injury. I think it was the Sunday before track started, wasn't it? During FBLA. Whatever basketball league that is. But he had invested a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of bandwidth over the winter months going to the Madison Pros Club because I think it was maybe the last 3 weeks of the season, maybe the last 4 weeks of the season last year. I just said, dude, go over and try discus with his longer arms and coordination. And so he went over there and I think he fell in love with it in the last month of the season last year. It has paid off dividends both for the team and for himself. What's most impressive about his state qualifying at sectionals last Friday night was I talked to him before he went into the ring for his first throw and just said, hey man, let's just relax, have fun, be yourself, and then we can build from there. And that's what he did through, I think, a lifetime best, 148 something. And that ended up, I think, taking second overall, qualifying only, I think, the second or third discus thrower in what I would call the modern era, post-1980, to the state meet. And I think that he still has a goal of the school record, and I look forward to seeing him compete across this weekend. Steph, come on up, bud. All right, now we got our 4-year varsity letter winners. Okay, we're almost in single digits. All right, oh, just stop. Okay. baseball from his youth, but I think my first real track memories were in 8th grade, I believe. He was part of a 4x4 team that qualified for the state meet up in Waupun that year. And I knew then that he had fallen in love with running. It was an individual sport that he didn't need to prove himself in. He could take his time and train the way he needed to train. And to watch him continue his path on being a very, I think he's the 6th fastest 800 runner we've ever had in school history. To break 2 minutes multiple times is not an easy task to do, but Dauber has turned that 800 into an absolute passion. He would do the 400 when I asked him to, and he would do the mile if I begged him to. But the 800 was really his perfect cup of tea. And I look forward to seeing him as a member of the 4x8, the school record-setting 4x8 team. I look forward to watching him compete this weekend, and I look forward to hearing about him competing at the next level at UW South. But it has been an impressive journey to watch Mason develop and his confidence grow over the years, and I only look forward to seeing more to come. Mason Dobbs, come on up. Free agent from the Poinette School District. I remember watching CJ high jump in unlaced high tops when he was in 8th grade and looking out there and like, CJ, I got some spikes if you need them, man. I'm good. CJ has gone from being a character to a character that people want to follow to being a leader in the sprint corps. Now, don't get me wrong, I think CJ could spend a little more time taking some things seriously, but you will never, your face will come away from just about every conversation you have with him sore from laughing and smiling. CJ is a bright light of fun and energy. My only regret for CJ is that his body would not hold up long enough for him. I'm of the belief that CJ is one of the 3 fastest runners our high school has ever seen. I'm of the belief that he was poised to break our school record. Unfortunately for him, and this is the part that I think speaks most about CJ, when he went down in the 4x2 at the regional meet at Memorial, I was over on the backstretch, and I can't remember who came over and told me that he had hurt himself. I don't know if it was DJ or who it was. But he came over, and so I had to jog over there to see, how bad it was. And before I even got over to the training table, CJ was walking back in tears, and he was apologizing to me. I'm like, what are you apologizing for? He's like, I'm letting the team down, I'm letting the team down. And that was first and foremost his concern, was his team. I think that speaks a lot to the friendships that CJ builds, maintains, and I personally think creates. So I look forward to, fingers crossed, his health being back to semi-full strength before next weekend. I think there's more fish to fry. He was on both state qualifying relays last year. And we'll just kind of have to wait and see. But I look forward to seeing what's next for CJ Galloway. Come on. I had a chance to catch up with Max Gardner here before the evening started. Max is, for lack of a better term, Max is just a snake thing. He has dealt with, pretty significant injuries that you're like, what did you do? And, high school boys, you just assume they're screwing around doing something. But this year, I knew Max from, I think you were on the state 4x4 team at the La Pond meet in 8th grade as well. And I remember Max just wanting to know more about how to run the 400. 400 was his bread and butter, but as time rolled on, he knew that the training it took to run a fast 400 was wearing on his body as well. Wicked shin splints, and so guys have to decide, you know, am I going to continue to beat my head against the wall, getting hurt doing this, or should I take a different direction? And Max was, I don't throw the word disciplined out much when I talk about Max, but he was disciplined enough to say, hey, I think I need to really hone in on that 200 and see what I can help the team with there. Unfortunately for him, we were on the back stretch at Sun Prairie East, and he was just warming up and did a pop-up, a jump up, and just his ankle blew out. I mean, it was rough to see. And so my heart broke for him, but he was still coming in, doing rehab, wanted to be around the team, wanted to be at peace, and I think that was what I will remember most about Max. He is a hard-working kid that wants to help people out, and I believe that that will be the beacon of his future as well. Max, come on up and get your varsity. We were just storytelling about Hayden's bat swing the other day. Yesterday, we used to call it tomahawk chop. So when he was coming into high school, I had my son talking to Hayden about, you know, Wyatt was looking to retire from baseball, and I was saying, man, you gotta get Hayden out for track. And I was absolutely thrilled to hear that he had hung up his baseball cleats, his catcher's mitt, and was going to come out for track and field. He, I believe, was the first to join a separate throws club of any thrower we've ever had, which I look at as somewhat of a trailblazer. I think that in doing so, he moved himself from being good at most varsity meets to making finals and upsetting people in finals at every varsity meet. He not only fine-tuned his shot put to be excellent, but he continued to work on his skills over in the discus area. It was fun to watch him succeed, and most of all, it was fun to watch him laugh and have fun with his crew over there in the throws area. A leader in the weight room, a leader in the sector. Come on up and get your varsity letter. Hayden Matthews. Went from running cross country to, you know, when you're running 5Ks, it's easy to stay in that longer route of 3,200, 1,600, maybe get down to the 800, but to really have a passion for the 400 takes an extra flavor of crazy. And Henry, I think by his sophomore year, had committed himself to being a 400 runner. Ran a 52.25 last year. I think that was at regionals, maybe to get to sectionals, or was that at sections? And so this year, I mean, he came in with high expectations. He's going on to Bethel up in the cities to run next year, and has been talking to those coaches about this is my passion. So to watch him be frustrated most of the season was equally frustrating for me, because it was not due to lack of work ethic. If there was someone that was there with perfect attendance over the winter in the weight room, it was Henry Meisenbach. He would put the work in to get to I guess, take out the money later, and it wasn't coming to me. So we had a conversation going into the sectional meet. He had been put on an inhaler, I think, was that last track season, or 2 cross-country seasons? Yeah, 2 cross-country seasons ago. And I asked him just briefly, have you been taking your inhaler? He's like, no, I haven't. And so he did, and so to watch him be under 53 again in that 4x4, that, I mean, it doesn't take the place about all of the goals that he wanted, but it certainly took a lot of the bitter out of the season for me, for him. Because now I think we've unlocked his capability when he goes to college and not have the doubt in his mind that I think was creeping in there for a little bit. He has been a leader in the weight room, as I mentioned. He's a leader in all of the middle distance workouts, and he's been a great guy to work with over the years. Henry Meisenbach, come on up. Another young man that had to learn how to advocate for himself. I think he ended, I would guess, at least 4 or 5 of his first 6 seasons would be on the injured reserve list. I mean, his shins could not take a lot of pounding. We did a lot of biking, we did a lot of auxiliary work, and to be a hurdler and be banging those legs around, it takes its toll on him. I think that Caden really started in cross country especially, was able to say, okay, I feel it coming on, let's back off now so I can add later. He was able to balance, advocate for himself for workouts, for rest, because some days rest is just the best thing for you. But what I enjoyed the most was him start to become a vocal leader over there. He even advocated for a full-on pasta feed this evening, and I thought to myself, I can only imagine the cleanup that would take. So I just want you to know, Caden was pushing for it, several emails, a few phone calls, some skywriting later. I finally had to say, I don't think it's going to be possible, though. But I've loved working with Caden in cross country and in track. It was awesome to watch him qualify for sectionals. If we could have slowed it down and made a Hallmark movie out of it, it would have been this kid, I think it was from some Prairie East, was kind of to his right, and that kid just plowed into like the third to last hurdle. Went down on the ground, and I swear I saw Caden look down as he ran past me and said, "Oh, thank you," and just keep going. So he ended up qualifying for that last spot for the section B, and I thought it was just free money. It was awesome. Caden Meyer, come on, brother. Brooks came into the season kind of a little banged up from the basketball season. I think he would tell you that point blank. And that bit, we knew we were going to take a week or so off after the basketball season because I think we did that last year too. You took at least a week off before you started jumping. Because, I mean, you're looking at a returning Badger Conference Field Athlete of the Year back in 2025. So we knew he was going to carry a load in the long jump, triple jump, high jump, and in the sprint, whether it was the 200 or the 400. Unfortunately, that knee just kept bothering him, but he would keep me updated on the rehab, the direction, the diagnosis, the treatment, because he wanted to be back. And so we finally just said, you know, we're going to shut it down for, I think it was like 4 or 5 weeks, where it was just going to be rehab, just try and work himself back to the first meet. I think you ended up throwing shot and disc. You were just one. Both of them ended up throwing shot and disc because he's going to go to Oshkosh next year and wants to be a multi, which is decathlon and heptathlon. But anyway, we tried to put together a plan that would ease him back in, and his #1 goal was to help his team at the conference meet. I think that speaks everything about Brooks. It wasn't the accolades that came with the medals or the newspaper or press releases. It was, I want to help the team. And he did. He came out, scored for us in the triple jump, the long jump, and in the high jump, and anchored our 4x4 to a 3rd place finish. unfortunately for Brooks, repetition is the key in a lot of these events. And I think the lack of repetition just kind of caught up to him at the regional meet. I mean, it's a tough day. He came out and jumped, I think he jumped 6 feet at the conference meet, and went out at 6 feet at the regional meet. And it was a heartbreaker. Still had the talent to qualify in the triple jump for sectionals. I mean, that's the kind of talent we're talking about here. But it was heartbreaking to see him come up and let me know that you know, his high jump event probably is, I would say, his favorite event. 2-time state qualifier in that. Co-record holder for the school record had kind of fallen short. But the turn of this story is he was at practice the next Monday helping Isaac get ready for the state meet. He had gone in, gotten the cones out, set up a circle, was showing Isaac some extra drills that he had learned over the years to make sure that Isaac was going to perform at his best at the state meet. So that was a lot of fun for me to see him feel and take that ownership. I think he's going to do great things in college, and I think that he'd have a spot here if he ever wants to come back and coach. Brooks Owen, come on up, buddy. Wyatt Parker has been around running quite a while. He grew up in track meets, coming to track meets in diapers. I think he stopped around, but he's known track and field his entire life. He's known running his entire life. For someone like him to have lettered under the pressure of having your own man looking at you and criticizing or encouraging, however you want to look at it, all 4 years was impressive. He was able, I personally think he's more of a long distance, like a 5K, 10K type runner, a future marathoner, and if he wants to, an ultra marathon. But when he knew where he could help the team out the most and what he wanted to do to get to the state meet, he had to transform parts of his training and part of his running style to be able to do so. He did so with grace. He did so without hesitation, and I would say without much grumbling when I would criticize him. Wyatt will leave high school with 12 varsity letters in cross-country, swimming, and track. He will also leave, this is his 6th consecutive state final to qualify for. He will be the only athlete in school history to have qualified for 7 different state finals, 2 in cross-country, 3 in track, 3 in swimming, and 2 in track. And so my only hope for him at this point is don't stop now. He's running on the school record 4x18 this Friday. He's planning on taking his talents to Eau Claire next year, and I'm excited to see what the next week and 4 years brings for Wyatt Parker. Come on. I would say there were 5 or 6 really tight friends over in the throwing area. And I think they put up with a lot of the athletic stuff and throwing to be with each other. It was fun always listening to Wyatt and Hayden and Keegan on the bus rides home, because they would go from throwing and having fun over at the throw sectors to talking NHL finals and seeing who can pull up different games on their phones on the way home as far as what other sports. I mean, these guys were just sport junkies. But Wyatt slowly progressed over the years. I think discus was probably what he would say was his favorite of the 2 throwing events. And when he emailed me to let me know that he wasn't going to be able to make it to the JV conference meet, I think he thought that was the end for him. And so when I was looking at the regional lineup and was able to find a spot for Wyatt to get one more discus throw in. I think that really kind of excited me. He earned it. I did not give it to him, and it's been a lot of fun to watch him have so much fun over with those guys this year, earning his multiple varsity letter, Wyatt Procrastinator. I would say the last year and a half has been transformative for Blake Brown. He went from, just kind of running in the middle of the pack to, if I told him to, he would have turned and slugged the guys next to him type fire. I think at the regional meet, he almost turned and slugged one guy. But it has been fun watching Blake go from a guy that just enjoyed being around his friends and running to being passionate about running, and he's arguably one of the most coachable kids I've ever had. It is never a, well, why are we doing this? It always starts with, what do I need to? And that's been unbelievable. When he came out and ran under 4:30, was it the regional meet at Memorial last year that you ended up PRing? I think it was. It was just jaw-dropping. For him, I think that was like a 5 or 6 second PR in the mile, and I think he just did it because he finally just got angry at something or someone, because I'd never seen him fire like that before down the track. It carried over into cross country, and it has certainly gone into this season. For him to run under 4:28, okay. For him to go under 4:28 in the mile, or right at 4:28 in the mile, and then I think more fun than that was watching his 400s and his 800s. He only keeps getting faster, to the point where the 4x8, because of his massive PR at the sectional meet, I think he ran a 158 mid or so, and then I had to put him on the 4x4 because he ended up just on a whim breaking, I think he was in a low 52 or under 52. The only question I have at this point is what's next, because we still have lacrosse, and he's going on to Whitewater next year to compete there. It's been a lot of fun to watch, and I look forward to seeing more and hearing more. Blake Brown. A young man that, if you can write a book on how to treat people and how to, he's speaking with the maturity of a 28-year-old, 29-year-old when he's talking about his appreciation for his teammates, for his coaches, for the sport itself. I think the most exciting thing for me when I talk to Ryan Schmidt is his knowledge of himself. He will be the first to tell you where he thinks he is on the team, but what matters to him is improving as an individual. And I think that is contagious. The desire to improve yourself, I said it several times this year, the kids need to be taking on the mantra of a better me is a better we. And Ryan Schmidt personifies that. It was awesome to see. He's a co-worker of mine now. He works out of district office. So I get to see him working with teachers, and it has been so fun to listen to, talk to, and work with over the last 4 years. I want to give a varsity letter to Ryan Schmidt on that. Having to explain large vocabulary, I apologize. Yeah. No, personify means like you. No, it's not like joy. All right. Next young man, we got 4 to go here, folks. 4 to go, and oh, it's only 5:45. This is awesome. Here we go. If you had told me 4 years ago that Shane Schrader would be the absolute stud that he is today, it's not just the haircut, folks. He is a real stud. Shane has been it has been so much fun to watch him. I remember I think it was at the conference meet last year in Watertown. I think you were racing the 200. Who were you running down? What was it? Kurt? No, it was Derek. Derek in the 200. And he's the only only child that I've ever watched run where you can watch him film and commentate his own race while he's racing. I'll give you an example. He's got a bad hamstring and he has to do a ton just to be able to race. And doing the 4x2, 4x1, 200 back to back to back at the sectional meet is not an easy task. He qualified for the sectional meet and I left it up to him whether or not he wanted to run it. But Shane's mantra has always been, yeah, we'll see how it goes. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. Sure, we'll see how that goes. So Logan was running it. Logan, put your phone down. And Shane was on his inside. I think he was lane 1 and Logan was lane 2. And Shane told me after the race, he's like, you know, to be honest with you, the only goal I had, because my hamstring was really bugging me, was to catch Logan and push him for the second half of Logan's race. So by the top of the turn, Shane had already caught Logan. And that's exactly what happened. He said, I felt my hamstring start to tug a little bit, but then all of a sudden we saw Logan. In fact, who was I watching that with the 200 race on the backstretch? We thought Logan had caught that kid. It was because it was almost like slingshot when you in NASCAR. Is that what it was? What has been fun, Shane is on the school record 4x1, he's on the school record 4x2. He has one more exciting race to watch, hopefully 2 races if they make finals at the cross. But he's just been so much fun to have around. Keeps everything light. Shane Schrader, come on. The first season that I coached Keegan in track and field, I honestly thought he was like punking me. At the end of every practice, him and I think it was Ryan would come up and shake my hand and say, thank you for the practice. And at first, I didn't know Keegan in middle school, so I was a little thrown off. I don't mind a good handshake, but every single practice he would go through and shake every coach's hand and say, thanks for a good practice, thanks for a good practice. It does not surprise me that I believe it was the Badger Conference Sportsmanship Award. Was that what it was that you won this year? The athletic banquet, the Badger Conference thing, right? That did not shock me at all when his name came across the microphone. Keegan has been one of the hardest workers, weight room junkie, has kept it light and fun. I saw I think he was in or filming some of the reels before the season even started. But it has been so much fun for me to watch him have as much fun as he has with his friends and to be as positive as an individual can be in track and field. His influence, I hope, will just spread throughout the throws area and further into the track team. But I just want to wish him the very best. Keegan Shuffler, come on up. I'll talk a little more about Kyle in a little bit, but Kyle Skov, I'm going to say something that isn't quite as a fond memory for him, but but I think it was one of the most motivating things that could have happened last year. Ended up having to go into a runoff. I think it was for the 4x1, was it? For the 4x1, and I knew at that point when Kyle did not make the 4x1 team for the regional and sectional meet, that he was going to be a vocal and leader by example from that day forward. He already was, but you saw the drive in him in the off season, especially. But he became a weight room junkie. He was overworking starts all winter long during open gym. Then the first day of practice, he already had an itinerary of who he thought what spot should be and what relays and where he could be helping things out. His mind runs 1,000,000 miles a minute. He's a very intelligent, academic young man, and that transfers to a lot of strength in track and field. It's not just grit and guts. Sometimes you have to think about what you're doing, and sometimes Kyle, we have to slow his thoughts down a little bit to make sure that he's able to enjoy the moment. I think he has enjoyed every moment this year. I know that there was nothing but worry on his face when CJ went down at the regional meet, and nothing but elation on his face when we still were able to get through in both our relays. I think my fondest memory is going to be how excited he was when he saw his name on that school record 4x1 team at the conference meet. It's been a lot of fun, but there's still a few boxes to be checked. Congratulations to Kyle Stowe. And our final four-year track participant. It's hard to keep track of all the accolades that Lucas has accrued over the years. I think that he benefited from having a few runners in front of him for a good chunk of his career. I think that he's the type of runner that thrives on feeling like he's the underdog. I think that as the last year and a half has progressed, specifically, really the springboard, I think, was the state meet last year, when in the mile, Manny and Grady, these two distance runners, for those of you that don't follow distance, were absolutely hammering at the state meet in the mile, and Lucas came up on him, I think it was towards the end of lap 2 or 3, towards the end of lap 3, and both of those guys, I swear, kind of pulled what Katie did in the hurdles. They both looked over and were like, what? Who? Where? Who is it? And he didn't look fazed. I think from that moment on, Lucas has looked at himself as, I can run at the front of any race. Now, that was a trick for him when he was a freshman and a sophomore, trying to lead every single race. But as he has put the work in, both in the weight room, plyometrics, nutrition, everything you can do as an athlete, Lucas does. And I think that is all great, fine, dandy. It's gotten him awards, medals, scholarships. But what it has done the most, it has lifted the expectation of that entire distance group. He has raised the bar not only for himself, but for what is expected you to do when you run distance. I give him a ton of credit for us having 11 guys under 5 minutes. He may not be the one talking them through every single workout, but he's the one they're all watching do the workout and thinking, what can I do to be like that? It's been a lot of fun. I know that we will see so much more from Lucas, but I do want to just stop for a moment and give him his varsity letter in track and field for the first time. I mean, that was a record, right? That's awesome. That's so good. That's a hard act to follow. We're going to bring these singing boys back up there for a picture.
top 4, bro.
Before we get to start introducing all the seniors, I just want to thank them very much. This is my 3rd year as a head coach, and so since their sophomore year, most of them have been through, and just watching them grow and develop, it's really been fun through their high school career. So thank you very much for everything you've done for our program and help build that foundation for us moving forward. So just come on up again, Sheila Arinwa. She was a senior and long jumper and showed a lot of improvement throughout the season. No matter the day, she always brought a positive attitude and a smile to practice and meets. It was great having her part of the team the past few years. Thank you, Sheila, for everything you've done for us. Delaney Alden. Delaney has been a member of our distance crew throughout all 4 years of high school. She's also attended our morning workouts throughout the winter, the last all 4 years, I think, right? 3 years, 4 years? So getting to know her those past few years has been great, both in track and then also in class and in those workouts. And she continued to build her strength and fitness throughout. We appreciate her commitment to the program and the contributions she made to our team. Thank you. Clara's not here tonight. Clara's been a member of our throwing squad since her sophomore year. She brought a positive presence to the team and contributed her own way whenever she was able to be with us. We appreciate her being part of our program and wish her the very best moving forward. Morgan came out this year for the first time as a senior and competed in sprints and tried the pole vault as well. She worked hard to balance a very busy schedule with volleyball to participate in track, but she wanted to give it a try her senior year. I appreciate the effort and communication throughout the season, working through her busy schedule. I'm glad she was able to get a few meets in throughout the season and hope she has had fun competing and had a positive experience with us this season. Program for the past 2 seasons. She always had a smile on her face and brought her own personality to the team. We appreciate having Carly as part of our program and wish her all the best. Eve Davis. Eve has been part of our throwing squad for the last 3 years. One thing that always stood out to me about Eve was her support for her teammates. She was always encouraging others and celebrating their successes. We appreciate the positivity she brought to our team and wish her all the best in the future. Elaine Feldner. An exchange student from Germany, Elaine competed for the first time in track and field this season. She mainly ran the 100 and 200 along with the relays and competed in the long jump. I'm so glad she chose to be involved with our team to share her talents with us. She's a positive member of our program and was able to make connections with a number of her teammates. I hope she remembers her time as a positive experience to take back with her. Thank you. Jenna Rossi. Jenna has been a dependable and dedicated member of our sprint squad throughout her high school career. She's the anchor of our school record-setting 4x100 meter relay team. She played a key role in one of our program's greatest accomplishments. Jenna consistently showed up, put in the work, and continued to improve year after year, and became one of the better sprinters in our conference. We are proud of all that she has done and accomplished. Thank you, Jenna. Reese Griffin. Reese's love for pole vault was easy to see in the last few years. She kept working to get better and finished her senior year with the best vault of her career at our last meet. Good luck with whatever comes next and keep chasing those goals. Haley Hallahan. Haley's the competed in the triple jump this season. She consistently came to practice ready to work and approached every day with a positive attitude. Haley was always willing to try new things and step in whenever the team needed her, giving her best effort in every situation. Her commitment, versatility, and team-first mindset were greatly appreciated, and made a positive impact on our program. Thank you, Haley, for everything you have contributed to our team the last 4 years. We wish you the very best in your future. Emma Herbertson. Emma was a 4-year member of our program, competing in the distance events and the high jump. Over the past few seasons, she developed into an inspiring leader whose dedication and character had a positive impact on those around her. Emma consistently came to practice ready to work and gave her best effort every day. She showed tremendous grit and perseverance while competing through an injury all season, never letting it diminish her commitment to the team. Just as importantly, she is always there for her teammates, whether it was offering encouragement, celebrating their successes, and helping lift them up after difficult days. We are incredibly proud of all that Emma has accomplished and the example she has set for others. We know she will be successful in whatever she chooses. Stella was a 4-year member of our Herbert group. She attended our winter morning workouts over the past few years and continued to build her strength and fitness as well. She was a positive influence on our younger hurdlers at meets and in practice, which really helped them get used to the high school competition. Thank you for all you have done and wish you all the best. Michaela made the transition to distance running this season and quickly discovered a passion for it. Her dedication and hard work in practice paid off as she steadily improved throughout the season, culminating in her personal best performances in both the 800 and 1600 meters at that final meet. What made her success even more special was the positive attitude she brought every day to practice. No matter the challenge, Michaela always had a smile on her face and was a joy to have on the team. Thank you, Michaela, for your hard work and commitment to our program. We wish you all the best. With a positive attitude and a strong work ethic. While she primarily competed in the throwing events, she was always eager to challenge herself and try new things, and competed in some distance events throughout the season. Paige approached every opportunity with enthusiasm and a smile on her face, making her a great teammate and fun to coach. We are happy to have her back this season and hope she enjoyed the experience as much as we enjoyed having her. Mackenzie Johnson. Mackenzie has been a valuable 4-year member of our team, competing in the shot-put and discus. She was a sectional qualifier in the shot put both her sophomore and senior years, and also finished the year with a great PR in the discus this year. We've had a lot of fun coaching and working with her throughout her high school career, and I'm confident she'll continue to achieve great things. Anna Kaiser. Anna was a 4-year sprinter for our team, primarily competing in the 100-meter dash and the 4x100-meter relay. Unfortunately, an injury cut her senior season short. But rather than stepping away, Anna continued to attend practices and found ways to contribute by helping manage and support the team. It was inspiring to see her commitment to her teammates and the program despite being unable to compete. Her willingness to stay involved and help whenever she could speaks volumes about her character. Thank you, Hannah, for everything you've done for our program. We wish you the very best. Danica was a 4-year member of our sprint crew, competing in events ranging from the 100-meter dash to the 400-meter, as well as all 3 sprint relays. She was a dependable presence in our relay group, and especially this season did an excellent job helping her younger teammates improve their handoff techniques. Danica had an outstanding season on the track, achieving personal bests in several of her events, 4 More importantly, she consistently brought a positive attitude, strong work ethic, and a willingness to support those around her. Those qualities made a lasting impact on our team and are what I will remember the most. Thank you, Danny, for everything you have done for our program, and wish you the best moving forward. Competing primarily in the pole vault. She consistently brought a positive attitude to practice, always showing up with a smile. Her hard work and willingness to help our younger vaulters helped make a lasting impact on our entire program. Vera has been a great role model and a positive influence on our teammates throughout her years here. Thank you for all your hard work and commitment over the years. We wish you the very best at the end of this. Ava's been a member of our track team for all 4 years, competing in the shot and disc. She worked hard throughout her career to improve and is always a supportive teammate who encouraged those around her. I really admire the grit that she showed this season as she battled through some knee issues, but kept showing up ready to compete. Best of luck, and you know you'll look good. She always came ready to go at practice and demonstrated resilience by staying committed to the team throughout the season and all 4 years. We lived very close in the same neighborhood, and I saw her running all the time throughout, like just constantly trying to get better. Thank you, MJ, for your dedication to our program over the past 4 years. We wish you all the best. Allie Schneider. Allie is a 2-year member of our girls group and showed tremendous improvement in both the shot put and discus throughout her time with the team. Her hard work culminated with an all-conference performance in the shot put and a personal best throughout the discus at regionals. Allie is also a fixture in the weight room, lifting 4 days a week over the past 3 years. That dedication and consistency paid off in her performances in the ring. Just as importantly, she set a great example for our younger athletes. Allie is highly coachable, always came to practice ready to learn and improve, and was a supportive teammate who helped make those around her better. Thank you, Al, for everything you've brought to our program. We are very proud of all of you. We're so glad Isla decided to come back out for track her senior year. She was a positive and important member of our distance group and grew into a strong leader within that group. Isla consistently worked hard to improve and set a great example for our younger runners through her dedication, perseverance, and work ethic. She always came to practice with a positive attitude and was quick to offer support and encouragement to her teammates. We are incredibly proud of everything that she has accomplished and hope she enjoyed being part of the team during her senior season. Thank you, Isla, for everything you've brought. She always came to practice with a smile, positive attitude, and showed some great improvement throughout the season, and especially since her first meet 2 years ago. Rosario was never afraid to try new things, and she embraced opportunities to compete in sprints and relays later in the season. Her enthusiasm made her a great addition to our program. Thank you for being part of our team. We wish you all the best. Our senior class.
Thank you.
The first awards are coaches awards. These are ideas that are thrown out to the whole coaching staff and either thumbs up, thumbs down. Other nominees are talked about, but these are the type of athletes that when you go to put together a lineup, dependable, resilient, can perform under pressure, always are team-oriented first, and are willing to do what it takes to benefit the team. On the guys' side, I decided that, we have just a lot of great kids, a lot of great athletes. It's difficult, I think, of the senior class alone, I think I counted 10 future collegiate athletes. Not all in track and field, but in other sports as well. So it's difficult when you start putting performance up against dedication, up against all those other attributes that I talked about. But these three young men, I think, are the type of people that you want to put in front of the poster to say, this is what freshmen, sophomores, juniors, you should be striving for. Those three young men are Blake Rauber, Mason Dobbs, and Keegan Shuttner. Come on up.
We have two coaches awards that we'd like to recognize tonight for the girls team. Our first is to Isla Torkelson. Isla Torkelson awards for always showing up and giving her best day in and day out with a positive attitude. She's been a steady and reliable presence on our track team for the past 4 years. What stands out most, though, is her incredible ability to bring people together and always be able to bring positive energy to every situation. She encourages her teammates, supports them when they are struggling, and pushes them to keep going. Her dedication and consistency have been truly inspiring, and her hard work has never gone unnoticed. Thank you for being such a positive role model for our younger athletes. You set a bar high, and we're so grateful for everything you brought to the team. And our second is Greta Leslie. Greta has earned the Sophomore Award this season for the effort, determination, and commitment she displayed throughout the season. She came to practice every day with a positive attitude, ready to work and consistently push herself to improve. Her dedication paid off as she recorded an impressive 11 personal records across her 2 events throughout the season. Greta was highly coachable and always willing to do the little things necessary to improve her technique and get stronger in the weight room. Her growth this season was exciting to watch, and we are looking forward to helping her continue to achieve her goals over the next 3 years. Thank you, Greta.
I'm going to save the captains for last. I'm going to go ahead and give our MVPs. With such a high caliber team this year, it's difficult to tease out, it's difficult to put 2 events together that are so radically different. And so you kind of have to start to look at points scored over the course of the season, points scored when it mattered the most for the team, or just in general, what's drawing the kids' eyes when they're going to perform. We have 2. I decided this year to give an MVP in the field area and an MVP on the track. The MVP in the field area walked away with only 2 years of experience, but with 2 school records and a state qualifying berth. I know track and field was not his premier sport that he concentrated all 4 years on, but he sure has made a heck of an impact in the few years that he did give to the program. I appreciate him coming out, I appreciate his attitude, and I appreciate watching him grow and seeing what he does at the next level. Isaac, come on up. This isn't rain signs here. When you hold the school record in the 4x8, the 800, the mile, the 2 mile, I can't even use some of his better times for school records because they were running their in a English mile or in a full 2 mile. But the impact that Lucas has had on DeForest distance running is insurmountable. You can't put numbers on something that has been so impressive. And I mentioned it before, it's what he's done to the rest of the pool. The water has just risen. And I look forward to seeing what he does at the next level. But for now, I'll just tell him that I appreciate what he's done at this level.
Plus 15 minutes.
Alrighty, I just wanted to take a few moments tonight to thank Coach Parker and the impact he's had on me and the team. Me and Isaac's name might be on these awards. The team and I would have never been able to achieve everything that we did without Coach Parker. Coach Parker always says that the MVP is someone who has worked harder than everyone else, and the team couldn't have been without. And I think to me and the rest of the team would agree that that is Coach Parker. We have around 100 athletes on this team, and Coach has built a personal connection with every single one of us. Coach Parker is so much more than a coach. He's a role model, a mentor, and a leader. He constantly goes above and beyond the role of coach, doing way more than he needs to. He leaves practice and goes home and thinks about how he can help the team. For example, he printed out rankings and scored out the entire conference meet. He wants us to feel prepared and confident. It's an amazing feeling knowing that you have Coach Parker behind you no matter the results. Coach Parker has taught me a lot, but most importantly, he has taught all of us how to be confident in ourselves and to push ourselves past our own limits. This is something I know we all carry with us for the rest of our lives. We wanted to thank you for investing so much of your time and your energy into our growth, not just as athletes, but as humans. And then now the regional seniors would come up here and join me. We got some stuff for you, Coach Parker. Now, as you would say, you made a little bit of a moron or boneheaded move, leaving your heated jacket out on the window of the bus, and then driving off with it and having it fly out the bus. So we all pitched in and got you a new heated jacket there, as well as your MVP award right there. It's a picture of all of us crowded around Coach Parker after winning his second consecutive conference meet signed by the whole team.
All right, our girls MVP, and this was really solidified in the last 2 weeks of the season with what they were able to accomplish on the track. If those that 4x100 meter relay team of Penny, Mackenzie, Morgan, and Jenna would please come up here. continue to improve and grow together, culminating in that school record performance at sectionals last Friday. As a spring coach, it was especially rewarding to watch this group come together and develop confidence in one another as the season progressed. Meet after meet, they chipped away at their time. And their hard work, commitment, and belief in each other paid off in a very big way. Their record-breaking performance was a fitting award for a season of dedication and teamwork, and it broke a 23-year school record. So that's pretty impressive. So nice job.
Now we have our captain's awards. With, almost 100 kids at the end of the season, when you have your hurdlers and your throwers and your sprinters and your jumpers and your distance guys, it's hard to really pin down one single captain. If I were to send out a Google form and have everybody vote for captains, we'd end up with multiple captains depending on who you're influenced by. And in my opinion, when I floated these names out past the coaches, everyone was pretty much in consensus with, yeah, that kid helped lead my area. These are the type of kids that if you weren't at practice, you knew that they would be helping make sure things got taken care of. If you weren't at a meet, they were making sure kids knew where to go, when to be there, and how to do it. And in my opinion, they are an extension of the coaching staff. So I want to recognize our field captain of Hayden Matthews. Our track captains, we have 3 of them, Kyle Skove, DJ Kronberger, and Wyatt Parker.
There it goes. And now for the girls. These athletes were more than just captains. They were really ambassadors for our program. Throughout the year, they stepped up both in season and out of season to make themselves better, their teammates better, and our entire program better. They committed themselves to improving every day, whether it was on the track, pit, or circle, in the weight room, or through participation in other activities. They led by example, showing our younger athletes what it means to prepare for competition, work hard in practice, and represent our team with pride. Much of what they did happened behind the scenes and often went unnoticed. They were regulars in the weight room, helped organize team events, volunteered in the Freedom Run, greeted students at our elementary schools, and most importantly, took time to support and encourage their teammates. These are just a few examples of the countless ways that they've invested into our program. Because of their commitment, leadership, and willingness to serve others, our program is stronger today than it was before. On behalf of our coaches and athletes, we want to thank Emma Hermanson and Allie Schneider for everything you have done to make our program.
Thank you very much. I know it's long. Mr. Router, we got you out of here before 8 o'clock. I know your old carriage turned back into a pumpkin about that time. But thank you to all of the parents, to all the families, to the kids. And turn your uniforms in or you go get billed. Sign up for the Freedom Run. We'll see you next year. Thanks.